All right. In this video, I'm going to talk about where to practice and give you a few tips for consistency. So it has taken me many years to become disciplined and consistent. So I want to share a few tips that I learned to help you along your journey. So, first things first, look at your schedule and routine and find a time that you can sit undisturbed for 20 to 30 minutes each day. Again, don't worry, you're not going to have to sit this long right in the beginning. This doesn't happen until the final week. But for most people, the optimal time is in the morning, just after waking and before checking your notifications on your phone. Why? Well, first, when we're asleep and shortly after waking, our brains produce something called alpha and theta waves. This is very interesting because our brains produce the very same waves when we meditate. So it's actually a bit easier to access these deeper states of meditation when these alpha and theta waves are still active. Second, choose an area in your house that is relatively free of distractions. So, ideally, this would not be a space that you work if you work from home or if you have a bunch of unfinished projects or chores that you've been putting off. Some people find it helpful to curate their space with photos of loved ones or teachers, spiritual figures. You can add incense or candles. You can adjust the lighting so it's not so harsh. You can even meditate in the dark. You can add statues of different deities or crystals or anything else that might inspire you or remind you of your intention. The third thing is to choose your seat. So this could be either on the floor, on a cushion, or in a chair. It really doesn't matter. I will go over posture tips in another video, so don't worry about this one too much right now. The next is when you are first establishing or reestablishing your practice if you've lost it. It's really probably one of the most important things is to set realistic goals. If you have too much resistance, then start with just sitting on your cushion for a couple of breaths. So at the same time every day, make a plan to go and just sit down in your meditation posture and just watch your breath for a couple of breaths. There's not even any need to set a timer for this. If you find that you actually are wanting to sit longer than a few breaths and have been sitting at the same time for at least a week, then set a timer for 5 minutes. If you feel a little bit more confident and you want to do this before the week, that's fine. Go ahead and set a timer for 5 minutes. Timers are important, very important, because clock watching is not recommended. It takes you out of the practice and it creates a sense of impatience. So I recommend setting an alarm using a sound that's not like your regular alarm. You don't want it to jar you back. Something pleasant and gentle. There are some free apps like Insight Timer that have a meditation bell feature. So you can check that out if you're interested. If not, you just simple timer on your phone is fine. So now, when you have sat consistently for 5 minutes for a few days and you find that you're not as eager to get up from your seat, then increase the time to 7 to 10 minutes. If you set the time for 10 minutes and you feel that you're getting very antsy, then maybe back off a minute or two the next day. When 10 minutes is comfortable, you can increase the time to 15 minutes for the following week. Then by week 4, you should be able to sit for 20 minutes at least without much resistance or restlessness. Most beginner meditators and some experienced ones will tell you that 20 to 30 minutes is kind of the sweet spot for them. And I think this is an excellent amount of time to work towards. Some people find a lot of benefit from tracking their meditations in a journal. You can make this a graph, like a dot journal, and color in every day that you practice, or you can put a note in your calendar. This, however, can be a hindrance for some people, so be wise about this. Some people find it beneficial to actually write a couple of sentences about their session. So if you're into journaling, this might be helpful for you. It can be something really short and sweet, like stop for 20 minutes, felt some resistance before sitting, but settled in easily. I observed some emotion and a little bit of tension in my chest. I was able to experience while observing the breath, and the tension and the emotion dissipated. Something like that. It's fine. It can be even be simple. Today, meditation was really hard and I didn't feel like sitting. That's fine too. It can also be a little bit more poetic and insightful. So maybe there's something going on in your life that you've been struggling with, and during your practice, you gained an insight. Don't break your meditation to write about this, but you could carry your journal and set it down next to you to jot down anything that comes up as soon as your timer goes off. Again, journaling can be a really helpful resource for you, and it can help you reflect and gain more understanding and insights about your experience. Sometimes this helps generate questions about your practice, or it might reveal areas in which you are feeling stuck. This is actually really helpful for me as your teacher, especially on this platform, because if you are finding that you have questions that you had forgotten about or you weren't considering after rereading something that you went back on, then you can ask questions in the community. So this helps to provide a really excellent opportunity to seek more clarity, and you can even help others who might be struggling in a similar way without even realizing it. So below each video within this course, there are places for you to ask questions. There are also places for you to ask questions on the platform in the main page. So when you do that, you ask questions and then you get feedback or guidance from either me or other community members. So if you have any questions about this, or if there is anything that is not yet made clear that I haven't mentioned, I'm going to mention in another video, then please post those questions or comments below this video. If you have any tips that you want to share that I did not include, please share them below so that everybody can benefit from your experience.